to another episode of Issues and Insights. I'm Bryce Shoemate from Hardin County Government, and today we've got some concerns, some things that are going on that some of you all know because of our drought situations that we are in a dangerous time right now as far as open burns. Plus, this being October, we're getting very close, even though this is the first part of October, we're getting very close to Halloween. So there's some things that are concerns, and there's some things that we want to talk about with safety, and there's some alternatives that we want to talk about with trick-or-treating door-to-door. So today I have Captain Marvin Reinhardt from Hardin County Sheriff's Office. Marvin, thanks for joining us today. And Chief Steve New from Vine Grove Fire Department and former President of Hardin County Fire Chiefs Association. Steve, thanks for joining us today, man. We appreciate that. Steve, we're going to talk to you first. We have gone through an extremely dry spell since July, really. The last great rain that we had was July, early August, and so now the fields, the underbrush is in what we would used to call a tinderbox type of condition right now.
Yes, the whole area, I'd say 90% of the state is in a severe drought area.
And I know that Judge Berry has issued a burn advisory, and we need folks to know that means that fire chiefs from all 14 of our fire departments are advising people not to burn at all.
We are advising people no open burning at all. Of course, in the city, we've put it out as a burn ban. Mm-hmm. We don't want anybody having any kind of fire. They can spread rapidly. That we're very tender. You think you can have a small pit fire in the back of your little burn pit in the back of your home, and you don't have to worry about it, but watch those embers as they burn, because they fly up in the air and they can go a mile or two, or even 200 or 300 feet, and catch a soybean field on fire, cornfield, and that will be devastating because they're very difficult.
And, you know, as far as that goes, Marvin, I know that you all have received calls at the Sheriff's Department about people openly burning out in the county.
Yes, yeah, and what we usually do is we'll go out there and speak to them, you know, let them know that there's a burn advisory and that they need to go put it out. And to some extent, depending on the size of the fire and actually what they're burning, we'll call the fire departments out and have them to put it out.
Yes. We are, folks, people do not realize I don't think people realize, Steve, how dry it truly is. Now, the farmers do. Farmers know very well. But I think some of the homeowners, even though their grass is brown, they don't realize how dry it is. And in fact, October 1st, is when the Forestry Department actually issues a Kentucky statewide burn ban until certain hours, correct?
Yes, the Forestry Division issued the 1st of October, and this is every year. Starts the 1st of October, runs to the 15th of December.
No matter how wet it is.
No, it doesn't matter. And a lot of people don't understand that. It can be extremely wet. I think last year was an extremely wet year. This year is an extremely dry year, but there is no open burning within 150 feet of the woods between the hours of 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. I would advise everyone this time of year, before you start any type of fire, to call 911, call the sheriff's office, call your local fire chief, and check and make sure that things are where you can burn.
And because there is a statewide burn ban until 6 o'clock in the evening, actually, law enforcement can cite people because it is a state regulation. Law enforcement can actually cite.
Yes.
For that. People don't realize that, I believe.
The Forestry Division will make a special effort to come out and cite you. We can call the Sheriff's Office to come out and cite. A lot of people don't realize that if your fire chief happens to be within the city and is a sworn officer in the state of Kentucky, he can cite you for illegal burning in these times.
Exactly. And so I've spoken with all 14 fire chiefs, and there is an extreme concern about open burning right now. And all 14 fire departments have been on numerous field fires, grass fires, and some of them have been just from people throwing cigarettes out their window.
Yes, absolutely. Please don't throw cigarette butts out on the side of the road. This is, once again, extremely dry time of the year. Especially, I think September was one of the driest on records. We were out yesterday, combine caught on fire, and luckily we got it out before it affected his soybean field. Where they're working on 313 up here, they were actually cutting some rebarb and caught the underbrush on fire. So it's not just cigarette butts, it's just about any activity. Mowing your grass, you can hit a rock. Excuse me, and that's how dry it is.
And we even had, so if you're hauling anything, make sure your load is secure. We had somebody that was dragging a chain on the Bluegrass and WK Parkway, and the sparks from that chain created field fires in the median on the Bluegrass and the WK Parkway last week. People don't realize even things like that where it's something that they didn't aim to. It came unsecure, but we need to make sure we double check our loads to make sure things are secure, because even dragging something metal like that on the asphalt can create sparks.
I say be a good neighbor, and if you see something, say something. Don't be afraid. Your neighbor may not realize that he's dragging a chain down the road, or something has come loose and it's dragging and causing it, or your neighbor may be burning something. Walk over there and talk to him a little bit and see if you can get him to put it out, because this is very extremely dry.
And part of that ordinance with the state forestry also says you can't, even though they allow burning statewide, we still are not recommending because it's so dry, but after 6 o'clock in the evening. Why do they say that time of the evening?
After 6 o'clock in the evening, generally the wind will die down significantly, and sometimes the humidity will come up just a little bit, and the wind is the big thing. Okay. Usually, people will notice in the evenings your winds will calm down, and that is why fires are less likely to spread rapidly.
Plus, leaves are getting ready to start falling off the trees, and that is a major concern right now. With my horticulture background, I don't think we're going to see a lot of fall color because it is so dry. A lot of the leaves are just going to turn brown and fall off the trees.
Yeah, they are now,
and they are already, and so that's going to create a fire load in the woods. And because of that, one of the things forestry says is that you can't burn. There's an area that if you do burn, you can't burn within so many feet of a wooded area or forest.
150 feet.
How many, I'm sorry?
150 feet of the woods.
Okay. So that, again, is another thing that is a citable offense a lot of people don't know about as well, correct?
Correct. One of the other little laws that the Forestry Division has is you're not allowed to light any fire capable of spreading. That is a law. Most people don't realize that. So any fire you light is capable of spreading.
Now because it's so dry.
Right now because it's dry. But yeah, there's 3 or 4, I would imagine, laws that can be cited, and you can not only be cited, but you can also be fined for the cost that it takes to put these fires out.
And that gets up in the thousands of dollars once you start looking at manpower and charge of equipment and those kind of things.
Yes.
And water's not free.
No, City of Vine Grove, well, just everyone in the county is on some kind of water system.
Hardin County Water District, I mean, the water is not free. So, folks, we're real concerned about this. That's why we wanted to dedicate this part of the show, because it is so dry. And if you are listening, please, we're not trying to scold anybody. We're trying to caution. We're trying to do this show to be preventative, to be proactive, to talk to you about it before anything happens. Right, Steve?
Absolutely. If you see something, say something, report it. early, the earlier the better. We can get out there, and a lot of times it can be a small fire or it can turn into a big job.
And there's some people, believe it or not, that still burn their trash. It is not recommended because they're supposed to be having that picked up. But if you're in a means of some type that you cannot afford that, and you are worried about that in some way, and you can't dispose of it, if you'll call our solid waste coordinator with Hardin County government or any of our fire chiefs at any of the fire stations, we will find you some way to help you out so that you don't have to burn it and don't start a fire.
Absolutely.
Because the cost incurred with that fire will be much more than what it would cost to get the trash hauled off.
Absolutely.
Marvin, we talk about all this and people don't realize they can be cited. We don't want to do that to scare people. We're doing that because we've got to enforce the laws that are on the books.
Yeah, and it goes along the same lines as like the traffic offenses. You know, we're not doing it to be mean or scold people. It's saving lives. And as dry as it is, a spark, as the chief said and you said, a spark, a cigarette, and you may have a neighborhood on fire. And not speaking for the fire department, but a brush fire is probably one of the most dangerous fires to be in, just for the simple fact, before you know it, you're surrounded. So there's so much to be thinking about, especially in this drought that we have. So, you know, it's not something we're trying to scold people. It's just, hopefully by doing this, we can educate people and they understand it. But if they don't, then it's the law, and we're just enforcing the laws.
Steve, by the time this show airs next week, they're talking about some rain on Monday. But because the ground is so hard, a lot of this is not going to soak in. A lot of the rain initially will run off, correct?
Yes. Just watching the news and with the National Weather Service, they're talking anywhere from a 1/4 inch to maybe an inch or two. But the ground's so hard, we're so dry, even an inch of rain is not going to be enough to take care of the dry condition. It may help really short term, but we need, I'd say, a couple inches, maybe 3 inches.
My dad used to call it, we need a soaking rain.
We need a long soaking rain, 2 or 3 days, and that would probably help, and we could might be able to go back to like we was doing, but it's going to take a significant rain.
Yeah, because a hard rain, it will run off.
All of it will run off because the ground's so hard. Not much is going to soak in. You know.
So I mean, that's a major concern that we have right now.
Yeah, Sunday into Monday, I think they're talking about a little bit of rain, but it's one of those hit or miss situations. I can't remember how much rain we've had for the month of September, but it was way low.
Yeah, very low.
Yeah, so just pay attention, be a good neighbor, see something, say something, report it. You're not going to make the sheriff mad or me mad if I have to come out day or night and talk to somebody about burning anything.
You'd rather do that than have to be out there on a big field fire.
Absolutely.
Or forest fire.
Absolutely. We had reported last week somebody was burning leaves, so went out. The guy had actually put the fire out before we got there, so that's good. I think his neighbor had said something to him, but rather go out. It's a little time consuming, but we'd rather go out on something like that than have 100 acres on fire.
And I know both large cities and even your city request that you get a burn permit before you start any type of controlled or burn, and we haven't been issuing any burn permits according to Radcliffe and the city of Elizabethtown because of it being so dry.
We don't require a burn permit. We do ask everyone, whether you're in E-Town, Radcliffe, Vine Grove, or you're in Hardin County, that you call to the 911 center on the non-emergency line and talk to them before you start any fire. That way, if your neighbor sees a fire and they have a controlled burn on the board, they'll call the fire chief and he'll come out and check it out, and that way we don't have to send the whole fire department out.
Absolutely, absolutely. Marvin, October, a lot of times we start thinking of trick or treat. Of course, I always think of Christmas, but I never think of trick or treat. And everybody knows I always think of Christmas. I'm a Christmas fanatic. But we do have Halloween coming up on the 31st, the end of this month. And there's always concerns by law enforcement on safety as far as because we got people out after dark?
Yes, sir. It's a fun time for the kids. It's a nightmare for law enforcement, and it's almost like the first day of school because there's so many kids out, and so we just have to be cognizant of the children out there, and the things that parents can do to help that is the type of costumes. And through the years of policing and such, there's some things that I've seen, and then I did some research and looked, and most everything I'm seeing is they want the children to stay away from masks and would rather use face paint.
Okay.
If the mask is not fitting properly, then it obscures their vision. If you're going to wear a dark costume, put some type of reflective tape on it so that the kids can be seen by traffic. A lot of kids, to this day, I'm an older feller, so I used to go out by myself. But to this day, a lot of kids, 10, 11, 12 years old, don't want mom and daddy following behind. So if you do that, stay with a group.
Right.
3 or 4 of you together. Crossing the street, cross at intersections, don't cross in the middle of the street.
And that's easy for us to say, but when the houses are across from one another, we see the kids zigzagging back and forth across the streets in the subdivisions.
It's really recommended that when you go to these subdivisions that you go up one side of the street, hit an intersection, and then come back down.
Right.
And that's makes it safe for everybody. The big thing is never go in somebody's house, and don't ever eat anything you get until you get home.
Why is that?
When I was growing up, they were people putting in razor blades and everything else in soft candy. With the hard candy for the smaller kids, it's a choking hazard. Today, there's things out there that they can put in this candy that will literally kill a kid before anybody can do anything with it.
So it's better for young people, or parents need to tell their children, bring it home and let us check it out before you eat it.
Yes. It's always been recommended that if it's not wrapped, just throw it away.
Yeah, because we used to get popcorn balls as kids, growing up.
Apples, oranges, if it's not wrapped and it's not sealed, just throw it away.
Right.
When you get home, because at least with it wrapped, there's some protection.
Yeah, Steve, our favorite treat in Vine Grove was a caramel apple when we went to somebody's house,
Give a lot
But
of
we
that.
were going to people's houses that we knew.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's the times are different.
They are. The thing I like about this area is that there's a lot of subdivisions that welcome Halloween. So they get together, and the subdivision's well lit. All the houses are well lit. People are sitting on the front porches, so they're really inviting to the kids. But just be cautious. Make sure you can be seen.
So do you all recommend that the parents or the children carry flashlights with them as well?
Yeah, flashlights or glow sticks. Somewhere, something along those lines, especially when it's starting to get dark, so that they can be seen. The reflective tape, when the headlights hit it, that'll be good. Have your children's ID, and we have, at the sheriff's office, we have gotten with the FBI. The FBI actually has an app. It's a child ID app. You can get it for Android or iPhones, and you can upload your child's picture and things of that nature, vital statistics, height, weight, things of that.
Where we used to do the kid IDs, now you can do it electronically.
You can do it electronically, and it even allows you to assign a phone number. So if something happens, you can just hit the app and it'll immediately call, and all that information will be available.
Where can they find that app? Just pull it up on your app store and look for...
I think it's the FBI Child ID.
Okay.
We also have some brochures at the sheriff's office that they can come in and pick up. It's really a good app to have if you've got small children.
That's great information. I know I had an ID maker and I used to make kid IDs, but this is great because we've gone to the age of electronics, so everything is on our phone.
And the great part about this too is you don't have to depend on somebody to make that ID.
You can do it for yourself.
You can do it for yourself. Take your child's picture, upload it, you're there.
Awesome. Let me ask you this. Alternatives to going door-to-door trick-or-treating. There are a lot of places now that are offering what we call trunk-or-treat.
Yes, a lot of the churches in the area offers that. Hardin County government offers that. EMS. I think some of the fire departments have started. You know, there's several areas in the county that you can just go to, see various people, and get your treats that way instead of going door to door.
You know, Steve, I noticed that the city of Vine Grove is offering a trunk-or-treat both at St. Bridget and also downtown Vine Grove merchants are.
Yes, on the 31st of October, I know St. Bridget's will at their community center. If the weather's nice, they may do it outside at St. Bridget. Vine Grove will be doing it downtown from 6 to 8 on the 31st. The
Now,
street will be blocked
that's
off.
what I was getting ready to say.
The street will be blocked off down there. The fire department will be down there. We'll be handing out glow sticks for the kids so we can light them up a little bit, make sure everybody can be seen. Hardin County EMS, I believe on the 26th of
26th
October.
of October.
But
And you know, I've got to say this with the one that they have at EMS. All of the fire departments, all the area fire departments come together. All the ones from all across the county come together, and even the Hardin County Fire Chiefs Association made a very generous donation to Hardin County EMS to buy candy to be able to hand out there at the trunk or treat. So I know you all usually participate, Marvin.
Yes.
So I mean, you talk about safe places to go.
yes,
And you Marvin, you brought up a good point. Several of the churches, I know Severance Valley offers one. I noticed that driving by Northside Baptist Church in Elizabethtown the other day offers one. Grace Heartland has offered one over the years, trunk or treat, and I believe it's the 27th of October. So I know there's so many different alternatives to going to people's houses.
And something that the sheriff's office does, especially on Halloween night out in the county, like in the Glendale, Sonora area, we try to patrol the neighborhoods slowly, make sure that, you know, all the kids are being safe, make an appearance.
So you're telling me you're going to have extra personnel out that night making sure everybody's
Not
safe?
necessarily extra, but we're just going to be in neighborhoods to make sure that that, you know, the kids are not running out in front of cars, and just making sure safety first.
I know there's another program called Bless the Children that's going on in Radcliffe that I saw on some billboards. I want to say it's at October 13th. I may be wrong on that, but if you'll look up, that's usually sponsored by Aubrey Jackson's church in Radcliffe. I just went blank on the name. That's what I get for getting old. But that is a big event that they usually have at a couple different schools in Radcliffe. So if you're not sure about that, if you'll call City of Radcliffe, I'm sure they'll be able to advise you on that. And the City of Radcliffe actually has a trunk or treat at Colvin Community Center. I know Tim Jeffries, the director at Colvin Community Center, will be taking care of that and putting that on this year. So again, looking at all of our different cities, there's something available. And if y'all are not sure, a lot of the trunk or treats, call your local area police departments, call your area churches, and they can tell you whether they're going to have a trunk or treat available or not. Nowadays, it's just a safe alternative.
It is. It is.
And
Facebook.
Go ahead.
You can go on Facebook and you can see just numerous places that will be having trunk or
Absolutely.
treat.
Absolutely. I noticed Facebook offering several of those as go along. So if you're not sure, again, the one at Hardin County EMS will run on October the 26th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., and that will be in the Hardin County government's parking lot. Our Hardin County EMS goes all out, along with I've got to truly say all of our emergency services, because we had search and rescue groups there. Hardin County Search and Rescue was there last year. just about all of our county fire departments were there last year. Elizabethtown Police Department, the Sheriff's Office. We had a great turnout. I know WQXC and the Wolf, and I believe I saw something with Big Cat possibly having a, but if you'll go to their websites for the local radio stations will also show whether they're going to have a trunk or treat and what time it is. So make sure you check on those different, that's Big Cat 105.5, ULF, the Wolf, and also WQXC. So check out their websites and it'll tell you where they're going to have their trunk or treats and what times that are going on. So I know Hardin County EMS tries to participate in other people's trunk or treats as well as our own. So, guys, do you all have anything that's coming up that we need to talk to our folks that are watching our program about? Anything coming up in the future?
October is Fire Prevention Month. This year's national slogan is "Not all heroes wear capes." Practice plan fire escapes. Check your smoke detector batteries when we change times, and that includes any electrical smoke detectors. They have battery backups. So please check all of that and plan your fire escape. Be safe.
Yeah, time change coming up November the 6th.
Is it the 6th?
I'm
Right at the end of the
somewhere
end
around
of October,
there.
yeah.
And so that's when we usually start looking at changing our batteries and our smoke detector. Also, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and
Yes.
you'll see some of our EMS folks wearing pink shirts, and that's why to make sure that you're aware of breast cancer awareness. Marvin, have y'all got anything going on? I'm sorry, Steve, go
Just
ahead.
one quick thing. If you live in a home that does not have a smoke detector, call your local fire departments. Most of those local fire departments have smoke detectors that have been given to us by the American Red Cross, and we will come out and install one for you.
How can they get, just call 911 and get the number for you all?
All the local fire departments are in the phone book. If you can't get a hold of them that way, you can call 911 and they can get the fire chief the message. Call the American Red Cross.
There you go.
They put them in as well. But we have people at the fire station every day, and we will be glad to come out and put you a smoke detector
Also,
in your
with
house.
the heat coming in with winter, CO2
Yes.
detectors as well.
If you have any type of carbon-based fuel heating system, fuel oil, natural gas, propane,
Wood.
you really would. Kerosene, you need to have a CO detector in your house. Those levels can get up there, and you think you may have the flu, but you have a CO leak. So if you have any issues, call your local fire department.
Marvin, anything closing?
If you see something and it doesn't look right, call. It's that simple. People are sometimes afraid to get involved with things. You don't have to tell us who you are. If it's suspicious to you, give us a call. Let us go check it.
Absolutely.
We'd much rather go on something that didn't amount to something than not get called on something and it was something.
Gentlemen, thank you all for being here with us today. And remember, folks, it is extremely dry. Please, no open burning. And stay tuned to Hardin County Education Community TV, where we'll keep you informed on what's going on in this great community that we call Hardin County, but more especially what's going on in your students' life in the Hardin County school system. I'm Bryce Shoemate for Hardin County Government. Stay safe out there, and remember, no burning.